Thanks for listening to Mike Douglas, Michigan's retirement coach.
And we're glad to have you here along with Mike Douglas, certified financial planner and Michigan's retirement coach, here to share his insight and his experience about working to better prepare for your retirement and how to have that proper financial plan in place. So if you want to get started on that conversation with Mike, you can do so at michigansretirementcoach.com. We also have links posted in the show notes, so you can just click there. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search Michigan's Retirement Coach on YouTube, and you will find us that way as well.
Subscribe,
comment, do the things.
Smash that like button.
Smash that button. I was watching another YouTuber last week, and I heard that because I had not so experienced the actual mash, but they said mash that button. It was an older video. He hadn't gotten caught up to the smash lingo yet. I don't blame him. Let's talk about creative genius and how you can't pigeonhole that process.
I'm here. I'm ready for it. Yeah. Yes.
Can't pigeonhole that process, Mike. You just gotta let people be who they are.
You gotta let it be.
Just let it. See what I did there? I didn't even mean to.
You gotta let it be.
I didn't even mean to. It just came in. You just gotta let it be.
Yeah. Yep.
The creative genius and musical genius that is one Sir Paul McCartney. He recently went on the record, everybody, in case you didn't know it. I think he said it, though, before, but I guess it's just kind of hit another news cycle because he was on 60 Minutes and he himself admitted that he cannot read music. Here's what he said.
It's embarrassing. I don't read music or write music. None of us did in the Beatles. We did some good stuff, though, but none of it was written down by us. It's basically notation. That's the bit I can't do, because I don't see music like that. I don't see music as dots on a page. It's something in my head that goes on.
You can't hold back that creative process.
Mm-hmm.
This is interesting for you because did you finish college? Did you graduate college as a jazz musician? Was that your major?
So it was. I finished with a business administration degree. Okay. But my first year at Adrian College, I was a jazz piano performance major. Yeah, so this story always rings very close to home because in the world of music, there's two types. There's two musicians.
Yeah. Right?
There's the schooled musician and like the fun musician. And I'm saying that from a place of bias because I'm a fun musician.
Well, jazz, I mean, talk about something that's not written down on paper. It's literally just whatever comes out of you.
And there's oftentimes a large amount of hatred between the two groups.
Sure.
But so here's what it is. So when I went to college at Adrian College, they said, all right, you can be a jazz piano performance, but you also need to learn how to do classical music. You need to learn how to read music. And I could, I know chords, I know music theory, I know all those things. But when I sit down at a sheet of music and it's got like 9 notes at a time that I have to play and then go on to the next 9 notes, I can't do that. But if you say we're playing in the key of G and we're going to do, just a 1-4-5 progression. Okay, I understand that. And we can just go through, it's called the Nashville number system. And you can just jam. You can hop in with any band and walk through and play with them because you can play by ear. You can understand music, where it's going. You can feel where it's going.
Yeah.
And you basically just have a chord. They say play a G chord. And then you kind of fill around, do all your other stuff.
Okay.
Well, almost all pop and rock and that type of music, and even a lot of jazz, has that same underlying thing. There's a chord, and then it's the other stuff, right? And so as long as you're playing the chord and the other stuff fits within the scale, it's fine. And to what Paul McCartney is referencing, and by no means am I saying, me and Paul McCartney were on the same page with this thing, same level. But that's the reality. That's you can jump in with any studio musician in Nashville, and a lot of them can't read music,
right?
But they can jam.
Yeah.
On the other hand, there are these classically trained, brilliant musicians who read music, who write music, who really notate the whole thing, who really, really well compose. And they follow all these rules of composition that everybody on the other side hates because jazz does not follow the rules. Jazz smashes the rules. But classic has all these rules. And I used to really struggle with that at college because they're saying you need to learn the classical. And I said, I couldn't care less about that.
Yeah.
And that's the way this world works is they have these two different spaces. And if you go listen to a band at a bar or at a restaurant or anywhere else, you hear them play, you're probably hearing more of the other side where they know how to jam and they can really do some amazing musical stuff. It's just a different type.
Yeah.
And so there are these two worlds of music. And Paul McCartney's point here is that in that space, it's almost embarrassing to say, well, I've made this much money doing music and I can't read it. However,
I don't think he's got anything to be embarrassed about. But that's just me.
Oh, no. In the musical community, right?
I know, and
like,
I get
well,
that, but also, can he not just be like, I'm Paul McCartney? Deal with it.
Right. So I can pay people
right.
to write
my music down. I can just walk in, play some riffs, and be like, somebody write that down. That was a good one.
But the music is in his head.
Yeah.
And, there are people who say, you know what, we need to go here, and I can hear where it needs to go. And then they go till they find that chord.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. And it's funny, though, because in the world, neither one's right or wrong. The classical side, the jazz side, neither one's right or wrong. It's just different things. There are people who would love to go listen to the symphony and love to go listen to the orchestra, but has no desire to go hear a country band play or a jazz band play or anything. And that's okay. And vice versa. It's about understanding the right things for the right people and what makes sense. They're completely different disciplines, but they're both disciplines.
Yeah.
They're both skills that have to be learned and developed. And where it fits. If you walked into like a bar in Memphis or in Nashville or wherever else with your tuxedo, and you sit at the piano and you flip the tails out, like old Bugs Bunny cartoon, and then you sit down and you then you go through and you do your classical song.
Yeah.
They'll be like, all right, that was kind of cool, but one's enough. You can go.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And the same way, if you walk into an orchestra and you start trying to do some jazz, they'd be like, what are you doing here? We're refined. It's a different world and it's different goals.
Yeah.
And both are pretty cool. Financially speaking, there are different ways to go about this. And there are different plans for different people. Some people come in very comfortable with the fluidity and the risk of the market and the ups and downs and the volatility. And that's good. That's good. They should do that because they're comfortable with it.
Yeah.
There's other people who come in and they say, you know what, if I need to know exactly where my money's coming from every month, I need to know exactly how it's going to be. I need to know that I'm not going to lose any money. And they're much more risk conscious and much less comfortable with risk. And that's going to be a different model. And I think that's kind of, when we talk about retirement planning, and we're always talking about on this podcast, is that your story, your experience, and what you want life to look like, that should dictate the portfolio, not the other way around.
Right.
It shouldn't be a matter of, well, the portfolio did this, so now you get to do that.
Right.
It should be, we want to do these things as a family. And so as a result, I need the portfolio to do a couple certain things for me.
Sure.
And we're going to protect it and do those. So that's what investing is. It's also a little bit of a different language. I even referenced a few things probably here where I said like the 1-4-5 or the Nashville number system. In the music world, that makes complete sense to people. But everybody else might be saying, I have no idea what he's talking about. It's a lot like when we explain things in finance and we say, hey, if we look at the yen carry trade issue that happened in Japan a couple weeks ago, and they say, what are you talking about? Well, but that's the one reason the market crashed on that Monday and then recovered over 2 or 3 days.
Right.
There's all these things, and finance is like learning a new language.
Yeah, it is.
It's like, and you look at it, and you look at these spreadsheets and these things, and it looks like a bunch of notes on a sheet of music, and you have no idea what to do with them. And that's how it looks. A financial advisor's job is to take the chaos and make it beautiful, right? To take all the different things you've got, these different instruments, because we have 401k or Roth or life insurance or real estate or these different instruments we have. And it's to put them on a sheet of music that makes sense for your family. Sometimes for the people, it's going to be classical, jazz, rock, whatever, but it's your life goals has a certain sheet of music and a song that needs to be played.
Right.
And the advisor's job is not to build it around the advisor's comfort, but around what makes sense for your family. If you're a jazz family and you really like to travel and go see all these things, and that's your right. And we're calling that that's a certain lifestyle and a certain expense style and a certain risk and investment style.
Yeah.
That's completely different from someone who says, I just want to sit here in Michigan and relax and retire and be on the beach.
Yeah.
Great. Do that. It's just different models, and understanding that there's a different song to be played for each family and that the advisor knows how to build that model. And it's not just hey, we'll buy you 30 things and see how it goes over the next 60, 90, 120 days.
Right.
That's building a successful retirement plan. And it has nothing to do with the comfort of the advisor or the ease for the advisor, but it has to do with what song you want to hear and what song you want to play and making sure that fits.
Something that I always say also is that when it comes to music and wine, if it sounds good to you, if it tastes good to you, it's good music, it's good wine. And don't let anybody tell you different. And I think that also plays into this conversation. It's like you got to do what's going to work for you. And that's another thing that you always talk about. It's like I could sit here and spew off all kinds of information and facts and stats, et cetera, but I can't tell you, Mr. or Mrs. Listener, right now what to do because I got to look at your stuff. It's going to be dependent on what you have and what you want to have come of it.
Yeah. We all have our different areas of expertise, right? I mean, I have people who come in and they worked at GM for 40 years.
Yeah.
and cars make sense to them.
Yeah.
They are mechanically inclined. They're very kinesthetic learners. They're very, very solid with their hands. And I'm very jealous. And it doesn't make any sense to me, right? And that might as well be a foreign language. I don't do cars. I don't do that stuff.
Yeah.
And then they come to me and say, I don't know how you can sit here and watch the stock market and carry the weight of people's retirement plans on your shoulders. I'm like, well, this makes sense to me. This is my song. This is my jam. This is what we do. And so I think it's just important to understand the differences and to have someone hear your song, or at least the song you want to be played. Like I said, Paul McCartney hears these songs in his head, and then him and his friends turn them into these beautiful things. But it started out with a melody or just a chord progression, and it would build into these full-on songs. Well, what you want to do in life, that's the start. That's the melody. It's that, oh, there's something there, the thing I want to see. And then you need someone to turn it just from a melody or a chord into a full song. And that song is your retirement soundtrack. And so we want to make sure that that's modeled correctly. If you want to have someone help you understand those conversations and how to get there, because you say, I don't even know how to ask the right questions or what to say, that's okay.
Yeah.
On
don't be embarrassed. Don't be like Paul McCartney and say, I'm embarrassed. This is the no embarrassment zone, safe space.
Absolutely. Yeah. Just go to our website, michigansretirementcoach.com. Click on the button. It says start your retirement roadmap today. Click that button and it's going to start the conversation. And we're going to sit down and we're going to say, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Okay, great. Then we start to understand what you see as the future, and we start building a map to make sure you get there. We start writing those notes out for you, so that way you just sit back and enjoy it, but we understand and we make sure the song fits who you are. So michigansretirementcoach.com, click on the button, start retirement roadmap today, and we'll walk through and have that conversation.
We also have links posted in the show notes, so you can just click there to head to our website, which is, again, michigansretirementcoach.com.
Thanks for listening to Michigan's Retirement Coach with Mike Douglas. To learn more, visit michigansretirementcoach.com.
Michael Douglas is an investment advisor representative of Stewards Wealth Planning, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Financial professionals are not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if Michael Douglas is licensed in your state, please call 517-323-7526. Stewards Wealth Planning, LLC is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency and does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Michael B. Douglas, NPN number 9650939.